Okay. So we decided to just go ahead and build the whole thing and then talk about it at the end. Well, first, before I ask you some questions about it, tell me something that you learned building this.
Well, it got really easy as we went along. It was just easy to see where it went in.
Yeah, because after we got that connection, then you could see how everything else fit in.
It sort of looped around from that first one to here, over to here, then over to the one he's sitting nearest to, and up, over, down here.
Okay, that's what it did. But what did you learn? What are some things that you learned building this?
Well, there's lots of symmetry here because lots of the same types of patterns.
Okay.
So there's like this hooking pattern that's repeated, and then here, and then and there's like this double straight down that.
Okay. What are some things that you learned?
Well, this was hard to connect up because it was so wiggly.
Yeah, that's definitely true. This seems like it wouldn't be that hard to build with Zone, but it actually is very challenging. It's much more challenging than some of the like three-dimensional solid shapes we've built, because those sort of hold themselves up. This one just wiggles all over the place. In fact, do you know what the other name for this curve is besides the Gosper curve? Have you heard the other name for it?
No.
It's called the flow snake. So it's kind of like a snake. All right, so now that's what we learned, but tell me one thing that you notice about this curve, having built it, that maybe you didn't notice before.
Well, this is a fractal, so when you're sort of just zooming in on one of our original 7 shapes to get a better picture of what it actually looks like.
Okay, how about you?
So, well, I'm starting to notice there's lots of these kind of gaps in the shape here, and I think that's supposed to happen.
That's an interesting thing. What do you think is going to happen? See, when we build this with Zone, we have to keep the side lengths the same.
Yeah.
But as you're actually building this, if you're building it for real, the side lengths don't stay the same. The side lengths are constantly getting chopped into 7 pieces.
Yeah.
So what do you think happens with this curve when you're not keeping the side lengths the same?
So it sort of goes, well, it's not going to expand outward.
Right.
It's going to sort of fill up all the space inside of it.
Aha! It's going to fill up all the space inside of it. Do you think it's ever going to intersect itself?
No. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the lines might touch, but I don't think they'll intersect.
Interesting. What's the difference, do you think, between touching and intersecting? What do you mean?
Well, the line, it's parallel to, but it's kind of the same line.
Okay.
Rather than it being like this.
So rather than crossing, okay.
Yeah, they meet in more than one point.
It turns out that when you do this pattern, it actually does never intersect.
Cool.
Which is amazing, actually. It does, and it also never touches. But it does, after an infinite amount of steps, actually hit every single point.
In the universe?
On the carpet. All right, so each of you now, one last thing that you notice about this, and then we'll wrap. That'll be it for the project.
Well, if you look at these yellow points we've instituted, I'm seeing kind of a triangle. So from here down to that one, and that one is a triangle.
That's actually a very interesting observation. That might be very hard to see on the camera. So I don't know if the yellow sticks that we have sticking up that marked the 7 intersections of the smaller level 1s show up, or sorry, level 2s show up. But you're right; they seem to form an equilateral triangle right now. That's interesting. I didn't notice that until you mentioned it. That's real nice. All right, what's your last thing?
Well, it starts and ends in the same place that our first one started and ended, sort of relative to where it was. Well, not like oriented as it is now, but this is sort of where it started and where it ended. Just if you had one pointed in the same way this is pointed.
Yeah, that's a great observation. And the reason that happens is each one of the edges of our original one was chopped up into 7 to form this.
Yeah.
So the first one, level 0, is just a straight line.
Yeah.
Level 1 is,
That's seven segment heights.
yeah, level 2 has how many?
It's the
49, I think.
49. And how many does
one
this
has
have?
343.
This one has 343.
And the next one will have 7 to the 4.
Yeah, cool. All right, guys. Great job building this. This is a very challenging build, but it was super fun. All right,
Yeah.
good job.